Hi, okay, welcome to session 3. We're going to be looking at adding and subtracting fractions. We're also going to be doing the mixed numbers as well, which some would argue is grade 4. However, I think as we're learning a method for doing our fractions, it makes sense to bring that in at the same time. So we are going to be pushing that up into a higher level as well this session. Before we do that, we are going to be doing our usual recap where we just check in and keep just being exposed to what we've already learned so that we can keep building our confidence and we can jump around. I can give you a question here and a question there and you're happily giving it a go. If you do need to look anything up, then please do. Otherwise, pause now and hit play when you're ready. Okay, so these are your answers. So just mark through and hopefully it's gone quite well. I'm going to talk through just a couple, all right? So I'm going to do question 1 so that we see that multiplication again, just in case anybody had a little wobble and you want to see a little bit more of the workings out. So I've got my Chinese grid all set up and ready to go. So the first thing I do remember is I just ignore those decimals. So I'm going to be doing 38 and 247 into my grid. I then start that process of multiplying everything in. 8 sevens is probably the hardest one there with 56. 3 sevens are 21. And now I'm going to start adding out. So I've got my 6, 7, and 8, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, carry the 1, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I've got nothing coming out there. So 38 times 247 is 9,386. Okay, really important. Write that step. Keep feeding that information to your brain so your brain remembers what it's actually doing. It's not actually doing the question we asked, is it? Because I needed to do 38 times 2.47. Now, if I'm going to make the 247 look like 2.47, I need to move in 2 places. So I'm going to move in 2 places, and that is where my decimal point ends up. So it ends up between the 3 and the 8, as you see in the answer here. Okay. The other one that I wanted to do, which I thought would be a useful one, is question 5, because there's decimals in both those numbers. So we've got 27.32 over 0.4. Now remember, I only need the denominator, so this bottom number, excuse me, to be an integer. Doesn't matter if there's a decimal in the numerator, but in the bottom, I really have to get rid of it. So timesing by 10 will shift that decimal point 1 place, giving me the 4, which is what I need it to do. But remember, I must do that to the top as well. So by timesing by 10, I end up with 273.2 over 4. Okay, so that's right, 27.32. When that gets times by 10, the decimal point moves that 1 place, making the number bigger. So I've now got my division without a decimal, which means that I can go in, I've seen a right in blue, I think. There we go, 273.2, and we're dividing by 4. So how many 4s can I get into 2? None, carry the 2. How many 4s can I get into 27? 6. 6 4s are 24, so I've got 3 left over. 4s into 33 go 8. 8 4s are 32, so I've got 1 left over. I'm obviously hitting that point, so I need to bring it up into my answer at that stage, and then 4s into 12 go 3, hence the 68.3 in the answer. So I hope that's helped talking through a couple. We're going to move now straight into our adding fractions and decimals. Okay, so there's going to be an example, you're going to have a go. There's going to be an example, you're going to have a go, that type of thing. Okay, so lots of pausing and playing for you. So The type of question that you are going to most likely see in your exam is one where the denominators, so these numbers, are different. Because the minute they are different, a whole load of skills need to be applied. So they want to test those skills, don't they? So that's why you're likely to see that. Before we do that particular question, let's just look at what 1/7 plus 2/7 would be, because this doesn't require a whole load of skills. This is just saying, if I've got 1/7 and I add another 2/7, it's going to give me a total of 3/7. So I end up with 3/7. Once you've got your denominators the same, they always stay the same in their answer. But we're not working here, we're working at our grade 3 level, which is where those denominators are different. Now, there's this super little method called smashed window. That's what we are going to use. I really like it. It organizes, it doesn't make us have to work too hard, and it just gets us the answer every time. I can also apply it to mixed numbers. I can also apply it to algebraic fractions. Not that you really want to be looking at those, but that's why I like it, because it's so applicable. It's really, really great. So this is what it looks like. I draw myself a grid, and then I like smash out a window, okay? A lot of people hate fractions. So I'm often saying, come on, you hate fractions, smash out a window pane. And we always smash that one in the corner there. And it kind of looks like a time sign once you've smashed it, which is good because we're going to be using our multiplying skills in this particular method. I'm going to split my half, so my 1/2 here, I'm going to split the half into 1 and 2. I've lost the divide line. I don't need it whilst I'm doing the number work, so to speak. And the 2 and the 7 is going to split apart and be written down the side. I then literally just multiply in. So 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 7 is 14, and 1 times 7 is 7. Those are all the numbers I need to finish this problem off. So what else do I need to know? I have to know that this corner here is the denominator. Even if it's smaller than the other numbers in the boxes, it's still the denominator. So that corner is a very, very important corner. That puts 14 on the bottom. I then check in with my question. It's an add. I don't want to forget that. This method is going to be used for adding and subtracting. So at this stage, I check. That's an add question. So I'm going to take the 7. I'm going to add it to the 4. And then I'm going to do that piece of maths on the top. That will give me 11/14. Smashed window. Absolutely brilliant. I love it. So I'm going to give you a question now. I will leave this on the screen just so that you have it to look at. Obviously, you could be copying this down in your notes as well, just to make your life a little bit easier. Okay, so you're going to have a go at 2/3 plus 1/5. So pause the screen and have a go at getting this set up and see what answer you come up with, okay? And press play when you're ready. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this now, just to give me a bit more space to work in. Move this across. All right, so let's get this smashed window drawn out. 2 and 3 along the top, 1 and 5 down the side. 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 5 is 15, 5 times 2 is 10. Take this number here, and it becomes my denominator. It's an add question, so I'm going to do 10 plus 3, and I've got 13/15 as my final answer. So if you got that, brilliant. If you didn't, is it because you're still a little bit unsure of your method, or is it just a silly little times table error or an add error that caused it to go out? Those two things are two very different things. Okay, so it's really important to think about why it went wrong. Okay, let's do another question. Clean this up. So we're going to do 7/8, take 3/5. All right. Now, if you want to pause and have a go at this, please do. All right. The only thing that's different is you'll be taken away on top of that numerator instead of adding. So press pause and have a go if you're feeling confident. If not, let the video run and I will go through the answer. Okay, so it starts in exactly the same way, and I smash out that window. Separate the 7 and the 8, the 3 and the 5. 8 3s are 24, 8 5s are 40, and 7 5s are 35. So remember, we're doing a takeaway. So 40 is going to go on the bottom. I'm going to do 35, take 24. Make sure that you are always using the bigger number first. If you need to, you will set that up. 5 take 4 is 1, 3 take 2 is 1, and you end up with 11 over 40. So hopefully you can see that actually the only bit that's different is that bit there, where you take instead of add. All right. So let's write you a question. So if you didn't have a go that time, have a go this time. 7/10, take away a quarter. Off you go. Press play when you're ready. Okay, so we've got our grid. You can see I don't exactly take much care. You don't need to, not really. As long as it's clear, it does the job. That's all that we really care about. 7/10 and a quarter. 1 times 10 is 10. 10 times 4 is 40. 7 4s are 28. It's a takeaway. So I've got my 40 on the bottom. 28 take 10. 28 take 10 is 18 over 40. And if you've got that right, happy days, well done. However, this question tidies up, it simplifies, it cancels. I can write that fraction in a much neater way, which we're going to do. But this is the important thing that I want us to be really clear about. When it comes to your exam, you will get a mark for knowing your method, and then you will get a second mark for doing any cancelling and tidying. And what we often do as teachers is we teach you how to do the cancelling and tidying first. And if that doesn't go well, we as students start to put those barriers up and go, no, I can't do fractions. I can't do them. And then when you start being shown a method for adding, it's just like, no, this is, I already know I can't do fractions. And we kind of have this feeling of about it. So what we're going to do is we're doing it the other way around, okay? You're not going to get any marks if you don't have the method, because the first step of any fractions question is to apply the method. So your job for me over the course of this course, all right, is to nail these methods. Once you're super confident with the method, you start trying to nail your cancelling, okay? Don't make it a job that you have to do all in one go. You'll know when you're ready. When you're just getting answers right like this, you know that you're ready to be looking now at that answer and going, okay, can I cancel that? So I'm going to show it all the time being cancelled so that you're constantly being reminded about that having to be done, but also so that you're having an opportunity to see it being done, so you can be learning as you go as well. So I don't do anything more complicated than look at the ends of the numbers to identify if they're even. If they're even, I generally just half, get those numbers a little bit smaller, and then I'll look again. So half of 18 is 9, half of 40 is 20, and then I look again. Sometimes you can cancel 2, 3, sometimes more, okay? So I'm looking at the 9 and the 20 and I'm thinking, right, what times table do both those numbers come in? There isn't one. 9 is in the 3s, but 21 isn't. 9 obviously is in the 9s, but 21 isn't. It's not going to happen. So that's my final answer. And I think I'll try and do this throughout. You get a tick if you've got your answer right. You get a double tick if you've actually cancelled it as well, okay? So that is something for us to be really careful of and just look out for. As I say, if smash windows getting easy, bring in the next job of cancelling. Okay, let's just do one more and then we'll move into our mixed numbers and look at what's going on with that. So I'd like you to have a look at this question. So pause and hit play when you're ready to see the answer. Okay. Split out my numbers and multiply in. So 8 3s, 24, 8 5s, 40, 5 5s, 25. It's an add question. So we've got 25 plus 24 all over 40. And that's going to give me 49 over 40. And if you got that far and stopped there, then you've got the answer. Okay. You do not have to do any more than that unless they say, give your answer as a mixed number. At the moment, that's what we call an improper or a top-heavy fraction, where the number on the top's bigger than the number on the bottom. And I can leave it like that. And a lot of students don't realize this. I can absolutely leave it like that unless I'm being told in the question, give your answer as a mixed number. So let's have a look at how we do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see this for what it is. This is 49 divided by 40. So I'm going to ask myself, how many 40s can I get into 49? I can get one whole 40 with 9 left over. And then obviously I've got to start thinking about the times tables that go into 9 and 40. 3s aren't going to do it and 9s aren't going to do it. So I can stop there. I don't need to think any deeper than that. I was really looking at this one. There's only so many times tables that goes into 9, 3 and 9. So no need to search for any more. And obviously I didn't try and half it because 9 is an odd number. It would have given me a decimal. We're not combining decimals with our fractions. All right, so let's move on. Hopefully that is enough there. I want to look at what happens with mixed number questions. Okay, so if I had 2 and a third and I had to add 1 and a half, what do? Now, the smashed window method is for fractions. It's really, really important that we're learning and remembering that what we're learning is fraction methods. So right now, I cannot use the method of smashed window on this question because that question there is mixed numbers. It's not fractions. So my first job is to change these into fractions. Okay. So let's first of all look at that because that's a skill I have to have if I'm going to stand a chance of being able to do this. So we'll do the 2 and a third first of all. So this is what my eyes and my brain are doing when I look at this question. I always look at the denominator. So I'm looking at 3 and then I sweep around in a circle like that with my eyes. So I start at the 3, I'm going to hit that 2, and then I'm going to hit that 1. And I'm doing some maths as I go through that movement. And this is the maths that I'm actually doing. So I'd say 3, hit the 2, and I multiply. So 3 times 2 is 6. I keep going with my 6, and I add on whatever sat on the top of the fraction, which is 1. So 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So that is going to give me 7 over 3. Okay. Now I'm going to do the 1 and a half. So I'm starting at that 2. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So I've got 3 on the top and my denominator stays as it always was, 2. Now I have fractions, which means I can just go boom, straight in to my smash window, and I can just do everything as I have been doing it. So mixed numbers, the only extra thing you need to know is that skill. If you can do that, you can do mixed numbers because you've already got smash window that can do the job for you. So I've changed my mixed numbers into fractions. I'm now setting everything up, and I'm going to just multiply in. So 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 2 is 6, 2 times 7 is 14. Remember, we're not looking for the biggest number, we're looking for the number in this corner here. Oh. I don't know what's happened. There we go. I think that might have just something strange came up on my screen. Sorry to just suddenly stop. Okay. Yeah, what was I saying? I was saying you must make sure that you're using this number in the corner, all right, and not just looking for the biggest number. So that's an error that I do see. Okay, so we're going to put 6 on the bottom. It's an add question, so 14 plus 9 along the top. That's going to give me 23 over 6. And as I say, most questions like this in the exam don't ask for you to cancel. The reason that they don't ask is because you've already demonstrated one skill. Okay, that skill was to change from our mixed number into our improper. So you'll get a mark for that. And then you get a mark for applying your method. Okay, if you then have to cancel as well, that's 3 things that you need to do, and they're not going to expect that. So really look for that. So if you get that far, you're doing really, really well. We're going to cancel, obviously, because we want to learn that skill. So if it is required, we can just do it. So 6's into 23, or 6 3s are 18. So I can get 3 whole and 5 left over the 6. So that's what that would look like if we completely tidied it back to a mixed number. All right then. So sorry about that little glitch. Put me off my flow completely. All right, you are going to have a go. I know you've only seen it once, but you are already perfectly fine with your smash window. So remember, it's only that first skill, and then maybe tidying if you are trying that. Okay, so don't be afraid to just go for it. Worst case, it goes wrong. Well, who cares? When we learn something, we make mistakes, not just in maths, in everything we do. So don't worry about making mistakes. So hit your pause and press play when you're ready. Okay, so 5 times 3 is 15, plus the 2 is 17. So that's going to change to 17 over 5. 2 plus 3 is 6. Add in the 1 is 7. So that's going to give me 7 over 3. It's an add question. Let's do our smashed window. We've got 17, 5, 7, 3. 5 7s are 35. 5 3s are 15. And then I've got 3 17s to do. And this is why this particular question, this mixed number version, is harder, because we can end up with bigger numbers that we have to deal with. And that's why they give it the grade 4 label. So remember, you are working at a higher level with these questions. I just wanted to keep it in the same course so that you just had everything you needed for fractions in one place. So 17 times 3, there's lots of different ways that you can approach that. I think because it's only times by 3, it's probably quite easy to just see it as a repeated addition. So 7 plus 7 is 14, plus another 7 is 21. So carry the 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you've got your 51. So you'll do whatever it is you need to in order to get those numbers. We're doing 51 plus 35 all over 15. And then we've got 86 over 15. And if you got that right, absolutely fabulous, well done. If you've gone on and tried to cancel it, that's not an easy one. All right, we're going to have a go now and see how far we get. So I'm just going to list out my 15 times table. So 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, and then it goes to 90. So that's too big. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 whole, that got me to 75, which means I've got 11 left over the 15, which is a step we only do, remember, if they ask us to put our answer in mixed numbers. Okay, so we know that subtraction is exactly the same in its method. It's only that bit across the top that's the difference. So I think you should just have a go at this, pause and do a subtraction for me using what you've seen so far. And like I say, there is no difference. You know what you're doing. It's the same as add, apart from that tiny bit at the end. Go for it. Press play when you're ready. So we're going to change that first of all. 5 3s are 15, 16, 17, 18 over 5. And then we've got 4 times 1 is 4. Add 1 is 5. And that's what I'm going to put into my smashed window. Got 18. You kind of see it, don't you? And think, oh, I'm going to have to do something with that. Okay, 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 4 is 20. I've now got 18 times 4. Again, it's up to you how you choose to do it. You might put 18 plus 18 plus 18 plus 18. That would work. You might double it and double it again. So you've got 18, double it, you've got 36, double it, you've got 72. And I love doing the 4 times table that way. It's really quick and generally fairly easy to double. So 72 is going in there. You could just chuck it in your Chinese grid, and your Chinese grid will just do it so easily for you. Okay, so 20's on the bottom, remember. It's a takeaway this time. So it's got to be 72 take away 25. So 72 take away 25. Remember, this is really important and something that I see people do all the time. Okay, I see people say, right, 5 take 2 is 3, and they write 3. You never work upwards, you always work down. This is actually 2 take 5. 2 take 5 is a doable piece of maths. It will give us -3, but we're not allowed to go into negatives. So 2 take 5 is -3. I can't do that. I'm not allowed. So I have to borrow 1 from next door. So I reduce that down by 6, and the 1 I've taken sits in front. And we always use that term borrow, like we're going to give it back, but we never do. We literally just take 1. So it probably makes more sense to say that. So I've now got 12, and 12 take 5 is 7, and 6 take 2 is 4. So this is going to be 47 over 20. And if you got that right, fabulous, absolutely brilliant. Now, if you had a go at changing it, how many 20s can I get into 40? That's 2 20s are 40, sorry, into 47. I said 40, didn't I? How many 20s into 47? 2 20s are 40 with 7 left over the 20. And that won't cancel any further because that is prime. Okay, so I hope that went well. I think we'll just do one more just so that we can see it again if we need it. So you have a go at this one, please. 4.5 and 2 over 4/7. Hit play when you're ready. Okay, so that's going to give me 9 over 2. Okay, 2 7s are 14. So that's add on the 4, that's going to give me 18. I'll just keep it in blue so it's all clear. That's going to give me 18 over 7. Right, let's do our smashed window. We've got 9, 2, 18 and 7. 18 times 2, double that, is going to give me 36. 2 sevens is going to give me 14. 9 sevens are 63. That is within our times tables grid. And of course, it's a takeaway question. So I have got 14 on the bottom, 63 take 36. Okay, let's do that over here. 3 take 6. That's going to take me into negatives. So I can't do that. Take 1. And I make 13 when I give that 1 to the next column. 13 take 6. Let's work that one out. 7. Took me a minute there. 5 take 3 is 2. So that's going to give me 27 over 14. Okay. Now 14s into 27 will only go once. And it will leave me 13 over. And that stays over the denominator of 14. All right. If you got that right, again, really, really well done. So we're going to do what we always do. I've got you some questions to be able to practice that. It might be that this session has been quite long for you and you need a bit of a break. That's fine. That is you. That's for you to decide. Okay, so what you might choose to do is to either come back to this later today or come back to it tomorrow and have a go at practicing your questions then. Okay, but the questions need to be practiced before you move on to the next session. That's the only thing that you really should try and do. So these are the questions. What I'm going to do, let me just pull that down so you can see them all. What I'm going to do is flash the answers up, and then it's up to you to move between the two. So rewind the video a little bit, see a question, let it play so you can mark it, go back and do some more questions. I wouldn't do all 10 and then mark them at the very end, okay? Just do a couple and mark, see how it's going. Because then if it's going wrong, you can go back, you can really look at the steps that you've done and see if you can spot that mistake. Okay, so those are the questions. Those are the answers. So you'll mark from this page and, like I say, go back and forward between the two so that you can actually get this worksheet done fairly easily. And I will see you next session.